We'll start with the prayers. Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahanau Punaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavaditamastu ma Viddishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. In the beginning, I would like to wish you all a very happy New Year, a prosperous New Year, and a healthy New Year. The study of Taittriya Upanishad continues now. We had a break of about 3 weeks. I will try to give you a summary before we start from Anuvaka 7, where we stopped before the holidays. Taittriya Upanishad is one of the most important Upanishads among the 12 Upanishads. There are three Upanishads which I consider very important. One is Taittriya Upanishad, second is Katha Upanishad, and third is Mandukya Upanishad. Why is Taittriya Upanishad? What is Taittriya Upanishad famous for? Taittriya Upanishad is a direct revelation of the Atma. It deals with the individual and it deals with the total. When it deals with the individual, it divides the individual into 5 koshas, the 5 sheets. It is easy for us to understand our body, our mind, our pranas, our intellect, and the happiness which we experience in the world. Because it is our experience, our anubhava. The Upanishads, they reveal to us something which we don't know. Apurvam, that is one of the conditions of a pramanam. Apurva means something unique, which other pramanams, the sources of knowledge, cannot reveal. Our sense organs are a very important source of knowledge for us. But there is something called as Brahman or Atma, which cannot be revealed by the sense organs. Neither the mind or the buddhi, intellect, can reveal this Brahman, this Atma. So we need a pramanam. We need a source of knowledge to prove the existence of the self. I'm using 3 words: self, Atma, Brahman. They are all synonymous. There is only one entity, which is called as the spiritual center in us. The spiritual center in us and the spiritual center in the universe is the same. That is how the Upanishads, the Vedas, they reveal this spiritual center. That's the first thing you should understand. What is it? There is a spiritual self, and this spiritual self is common between the body, which is taken as I, the ego, and the universe, which is taken as the Paramatma. Jivatma and Paramatma. So between Jivatma and Paramatma, there is oneness. Oneness means there is something which makes them united. All the Upanishads, the goal of Upanishads is to reveal to us this unity between the Jivatma and the Paramatma. The, the Jiva, who is the experiencer, and the world, and the creator of the world, they are all one entity. This is the goal. So at the end of the study of Upanishads, if your intellect has got a little bit of knowledge about this oneness, that means you have succeeded in the study of Upanishads. So Taittriya Upanishad deals with the five koshas. Mandukya Upanishad deals with the three avasthas, three states of consciousness which we experience. Through the three states and the five koshas, the direct revelation of the self or the spiritual center is made. That is why these two Upanishads I consider as the most important, because in Tattva Bodha, the definition of Atma is it is beyond the three Sharirams, beyond the five koshas, and beyond the three avasthas. So when you take the Tattva Bodha and you want to know what is this Atma which I have learned in Tattva Bodha, your direct answer will be come to these three Upanishads and understand what is that which the Tattva Bodha was trying to reveal. Katha Upanishad is a very beautiful Upanishad. I consider this also as one of the very best because it has got a very nice story behind it. And the story helps us to understand the self better. I will not go into the depth, but because of the story and because it is revealed to us by Yamadharmaraja, all of us are afraid of death. We don't know what is this unknown factor in this world called death. And who is the Lord of that death? That Lord of the death is the teacher in Katha Upanishad. After Taittriya Upanishad, I'll be taking Katha Upanishad for the Saturday sessions. So these three Upanishads, they reveal directly. Now I will go to the Taittriya Upanishad. How so far, whatever we have studied, I will give you a short summary in about 10 to 15 minutes. Because if you understand the summary clearly, you will understand the future talks and also you will understand the balance portion of Anuvaka 7. Now, the design of Taittriya Upanishad is, I am not giving any notes. If you want to make notes, you can make your own notes, or when you listen to the talk at that time, you can make your own notes for this summary. So what the design of Taittriya Upanishad is, there is a jiva in this body. There is an entity called as jiva, who is the experiencer of this world. Now, this jiva is covered with five koshas. What the Upanishad says is, it gives a description of the five koshas or the sheaths which cover this Atma. And it says that this Atma is not the body, Annamaya kosha. It says it is not the Pranamaya kosha, which is the breath in the body. It is not the Manomaya Kosha, which is the mind in this body. It is not the Vijnanamaya Kosha, which is the intellectual personality. And ultimately, it is not the happiness which we enjoy in the world. It is not. It is negating the five covering. Then what does it say? It says that this Atma is Satyam, Jnanam, Ananta. That is the first mantra, first Anuvaka description of this Atma. In chapter 2 is the main teaching of Taittriya Upanishad. And in this chapter, there are 9 sections, 9 Anuvakas. Each of this Anuvaka has got either 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 mantras. So in the very first mantra, it was discussed that there is a spiritual essence which is called as Brahman or Atma, which is not a product. It is not a karya. It is not an effect, but it is the karanam. It is a karanam for the whole Jagat itself. The whole universe is born, it is sustained, and it is resolved into this spiritual essence. That is the very first definition of this Atma. Don't forget this. This is extremely important because if you understand this aspect of the teaching, then you will follow the other aspects when we discuss each kosha or when we discuss each portion of the nature of the self. So when we say that we are not the body, then who are we? The description of the self is Satyam. Satyam means it is always there. Eternally. It is not affected by time or place. It doesn't change. There is no vikara or modification for the spiritual essence in us. That is why throughout our life, we all feel that we have not changed. Body has undergone change, the mind has undergone emotions, but I, the self, remain as the self. Similarly, what the Upanishad says is even when the body is not experienced by us in sleep, I remain as this self, as the pure self, which is called as Satyam. Satyam is a technical word. It stands for pure existence. Then the second description it says is Jnanam. Jnana means consciousness. It is the spiritual light. In this body, there is a spiritual light. In the universe, there is a spiritual light. It is not the material light which we know. Material light is the light of fire, light of sun, the light of a tube light. These are all material lights. But the spiritual light is this Atma. So the second definition is what? Consciousness. Then we come to the third definition of this Atma. These are all said in the very first mantra of this second chapter. I'm giving you a revision so that you can recollect what we have studied. So the third definition is what? It is Anantam. Satyam, Jnanam, Anantam, Brahma. Anantam means it is infinite. There are two meanings to it. One interpretation is it is Ananda, it is blissful. Satyam Jnanam, Anantam, blissful self. That is what we are going to see in 7, 8, and 9. These are three mantras which talks about the bliss nature of the self. So Anantam means it is infinite. It is not affected by space or time. That means what? It is eternal. Eternal means what? I always exist. Whether I experience the world in the waking state or I don't experience the world in the sleep state, whether I am with a body or without a body, I am that spiritual self. Suppose I come to realize this, what a great achievement in life it is. I will drop the identification with this material body and then I will say, I am that spiritual self which is eternal. When I do that, what happens to me? Number one, I don't have any fear. No fear of death. No fear of anything in the world. And number two, I am always there. That feeling that I am always there is the end of sorrow. That is what the Upanishads reveal to us. Okay, so this is a broad outline of Taittriya Upanishad. In Anuvaka 7, there are three mantras. The first mantra says that before the world appeared, there was this Brahman. Brahman is the cause. This is said in the first mantra of Anuvaka 7. Anuvaka means section. There are three mantras in this section. The first mantra of this section says that there is a cause for this world, and when you say world, it includes me also. It includes my body, mind, intellect also. So if that there is something which is a cause, then this world and the individual being is a product. It is an effect. All the products always have a manufacturing date and an expiry date. So if I come to know that this body is only an appearing self and it disappears, it becomes manifest, it becomes unmanifest, it becomes unmanifest in the sleep state. Or when the body leaves, when the body dies, it becomes unmanifest. So what it says is, this particular first mantra says that the Supreme Creator himself created this world out of himself. The Creator, the Supreme Creator is Brahman. That Creator is the material cause and the intelligent cause for this universe. What is an example of this? The waker is the material cause and the intelligent cause for the dream world. Always you try to use Upanishads whenever you're stuck with any obstacle or a problem. Suppose you don't understand one part of any Upanishad, see whether you can draw an inference from the dream experience which we have. Shankaracharya uses this technique to explain a lot of contradictions which are there in the Upanishads by taking the dream example all the time. So when you take the waker is the cause of the dream world. The waker is the material cause as well as the intelligent cause. Similarly, Atma is the material cause and the intelligent cause of the waking. Now you will be able to understand. This Atma is of a higher order of reality and it is called as Paramarthika Satyam. What about the waking world? Waking world is called as Vyavaharika Satyam. Okay? Now, this is what was said in the first mantra. A few other things have been said, but I'm not going into the depth of it. But uh, another important idea which was said in the first mantra is that this world of plurality, which we see, whenever we discuss Upanishad discusses the world as plurality, Dvaita, the seer and the seen. The seen is many, but the seer is one. So, what the Upanishad says is the entire dream world, which is plurality, is superimposed on the waker. Now, what extend that example to the waking world? The entire waking world plurality is superimposed on Atma or Brahman or the self. All three are the same because there is only one single entity which is the substratum of the whole universe. So, this dynamic universe which we experience has got the spiritual center in two forms. Immanent form, that means when you are experiencing the world, the waking world, like now, it is there. The spiritual self is there because it is itself appearing as this whole world. This, there is another form to the spiritual self. What is that form? Transcendent. Transcendent means what? Without the world also it exists, like in the sleep state. So the Upanishad uses logic, it uses the Shruti mantra, and it uses the Anubhava to convince us that what the Shruti is saying is the truth. So all of us have to understand the Upanishads from 3 points of view. What is my experience? What is the mantra which tells me the real reality of the world? And what is the logic which the Upanishad uses to convince my intellect? Because the buddhi understands only one thing. It understands only reason. Okay? The last point mentioned in the first mantra of seventh Anuvaka is that this world is Sukrutam. The key word in this whole first mantra is Sukrutam. What is the meaning of Sukrutam? Sukrutam means this world is very well planned. It is not an accident, it is planned. It is very well implemented and it is very well experienced by all of us. There is a lot of intelligence behind this universe. That is what is called as Sukrutam. Sukrutam means it is a well-planned, joyful world. Even though we see some depth and so on, but ultimately, if you see the whole world, like in Bhagavad Gita, when we learn the chapter 10 and chapter 11, what Lord Krishna says is, look at the whole world and then decide how the world is. Don't look at one part of the world. Joy and sorrow, success and failure, these are all the pairs of opposites in the world. Okay, so that is the first mantra of seventh Anuvaka. Second mantra. Second mantra says that there is oneness in this created world. This is the Aikyam. This is the one, there is oneness. This is where the Upanishad uh, dwells on the real nature of the universe. When we look at the world with reference to a specific body or mind or intellect, then it is a very limited world. It will always have limitations. But when we look at it from the whole world, from the substratum point of view, from Atma point of view, you will understand there is bliss in this world. There's joy in this world. Pain is created by us through our thoughts, which rise because of prarabdha karma vasanas. Sorrow is experienced because of the vasanas which are generated as thoughts in our intellect. But the world created by the Lord Ishvara Srishti is a blissful rasa. Rasa means what? It gives pleasure and joy to the living beings to carry on with their life, to sustain their life. And it says that even our breath, we breathe because there is joy in this world. The body is satisfied when the sense organs are satisfied. Our sense organs are satisfied when they get sense objects. But this joy is different than the joy of Atma. Our intellect has satisfaction when it understands something, especially philosophy. But what the Upanishad says is we have to transcend our five koshas and experience this Atma, the self in us. That self has got supreme joy. We are going to analyze this supreme joy in the 8th Anuvaka, in the next mantra. But this is an introduction of that supreme joy. What is the supreme joy? Of Atma. Because there is nothing else except it. Suppose there is nothing else except that Brahman or Atman, then that is what is called as supreme bliss. And if you come to realize in your own intellect that that supreme bliss is what I am, then that is called as Atma Ananda Anubhava. All the saints like Buddha, Ramatirtha, Ramakrishna, Chinmayananda, there are so many saints who have had this blissful experience in spite of all the pains in their surroundings. Why? Because they have been able to identify with that Atma. Our spiritual journey consists of two parts. One is try to understand more about this Brahman, about this Atma, about this spiritual nature. That is one part. And the second part is to reject our body, mind, and intellect as our real nature. Okay? So the rich people, they experience joy, but then it is not continuously there. It is not permanent. What is permanent joy? The bliss of the self. This is the second mantra of the 7th section, which we have completed. First 5 anuvakas say that this is not the self. All the 5 sheets were taken up one by one in the first 5 anuvakas. The 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th anuvakas, they talk about the Atma, the real nature of Atma, and how that Atma and Brahman, the individual and totality, there is oneness between them. That is the topic of all these four Anuvakas. So in the seventh Anuvaka, we have finished the second mantra. The third mantra is what we are studying now. And the third mantra, it says, when this ego center in us, see, we all have an ego, the I in us, the small I in us. When this I, the small I, realizes the big I, that is the Paramatma, that is the spiritual self, when it realizes this oneness in this universe, there will be fearlessness. See, for all this, the pramanam, the source of knowledge is only the Veda. You cannot say, how is it possible? How is it really possible? All the questions you should not have. Because you should have Shraddha in the Upanishads, in the Veda. Upanishad says this, therefore I believe it. Therefore, I will go and study the Upanishads, study the self, study the Atma, and realize for my own self, is my fear of death gone? Many seekers who have studied together with me, they have confirmed that the fear is gone. You see, when you continuously study the Upanishads, you get an idea about this Atma and you start identifying with that Atma as yourself. Once you start that process, Mananam and the Nididhyasana process starts, a lot of these qualities come to you. You can realize it yourself. After 3, 4, 5 years of Upanishadic study, everyone realizes their Atma and they also realize that they don't have many of the problems which they faced in life before the study of Upanishads. In this third mantra, I will just give a little bit more information, then we'll go into this actual place where we stopped last time. There are 4 indicators of this Atma given. Number 1, Atma is invisible. Atma is bodiless, incorporeal. Atma is inexplicable. Third one. And the last one is, it is unsupported. See, if there is nothing, if there is no body, then what happens? Then this Atma is pure. It is only the pure spirit. And in that spirit, you don't see Dvaita. You don't see another object. And that is why it is called as Advaita. The whole philosophy of Shankaracharya is Advaita philosophy, which is beautifully explained in Mandukya Upanishad. Very, very beautifully explained in Mandukya. What is this Advaitam? How is Advaitam the nature of our real self? Tomorrow, I'm going to start Mandukya Upanishad classes at 7 o'clock Singapore time. And it's going to be 1 year or 2 year study of the Mandukya Upanishad, but a very in-depth study. Because I am taking the Shankara Bhashyam. Shankara Bhashyam is extremely difficult to understand, but if you go slowly, gradually, you will pick up the nuances. So that is what I hope to do from tomorrow. And it will take a long time, but I'm not bothered. Whoever is interested can join. Even if you can't attend the session, you can get a recording and you can listen anytime during your free time. And you can continue another Upanishadic study together with Taittriya Upanishad. See, Taitriya Bhashyam is also, it is a Shankara Bhashyam. I'm doing it extremely slowly, but because these topics which Shankaracharya describes and writes about are very much in detail. I'm able to talk like this because of the Bhashya, of the commentary of Shankaracharya on Taittriya Upanishad, Mandukya Upanishad. Another way to look at our Atma. Atma, when we experience with the body in the waking state, is called as conditioned self. Try to understand this because see, the entire Upanishad is nothing but just trying to tell us how I should look at myself, how I should look at the world. That's all. And there is a technique. There is a technique you have to, your intellect has to follow the technique and also apply the technique. Entire study of Upanishad is application. You must be able to apply it to your own self. So here, this pure nature of Atma, which is the spiritual center of the entire universe, has got two nature. One is called as the conditioned nature. Condition means what? There are upadis. Upadi means there are mediums of experiences. There is another form for this spiritual center, the spiritual self. What is that? Unconditioned self. Unconditioned self is the real self, in which there is nothing except the pure Atma, in which there is nothing except Brahman. No second thing is there. There is no second Brahman also. There is no Bheda. There is no differences. Sajatiya, Vijatiya, Swagata Bheda. Three types of differences are not there. And that is what we experience in our sleep every day. Every time we go to sleep, that is what we experience. The spiritual self is where this entire universe resolves. That is said in the third mantra of this seventh Anuvaka. See, these descriptions of the pure self which you get in Taittriya Upanishad are really remarkable. If you are able to understand even a small bit and you can understand the overall scheme of how the Upanishad tries to reveal this nature of ourselves, you will be able to easily pick up and say, oh, this is Atma. I'm very happy to know this Atma because that is my real nature. When the ego center, the I, that I which is associated with the mind when we are in the waking state, when that ego understands that this body and the universe is not the real nature of that self, but it is the unconditioned nature of that ego, which is the real self. That is what is called as moksha. That is what is called as freedom. Freedom from what? Freedom from limitations. And that expresses as what? It expresses as Purnaha. I am complete. I don't need anything else in this world to make me fulfilled in life. That is why all the jnanis, when they have experienced the self with the help of the Shruti, then the joy which they get is something which cannot be described. Okay? So this is where I would like to stop the summary and now go to the section where we stopped in our last session. The last session, we stopped in this particular slide. Now you'll be able to understand the background and whatever we are going to discuss from now on till the end of the Upanishads. But this session of is roughly about 35, 40 minutes. If you can revise, if you can make some notes, it'll be easy for you to understand the general overall scheme of things. And this is not only relevant for this Upanishad, but it is relevant for all Upanishads. Okay. Dvaitam and Advaitam, these are two words which you should become familiar. Here we are going to discuss what is the nature of Dvaitam. Dvaitam means it is the experiencer and the experienced. That is what is called as Dvaita. Dvaita means the experiencer is there, experience is there. What is Advaitam? Experiencer alone is there, is Advaita. That is what is the goal of all the Upanishads. It wants to say that the substratum for this Jiva, Jagat and Ishvara is Advaitam. Pure self, the spiritual center of the entire universe. That is what is called as Advaita. Now, what is the nature of this duality is explained by Shankaracharya in this section. He says that the nature of this duality is it is born out of avidya. Avidya means ignorance. It is not ignorance about Russian language or something. It is ignorance about the self, about the spiritual self. That avidya is called as Mula Avidya. So, because I don't know the center, the spiritual center of this entire universe, I think that what I am experiencing in the world as plurality is real. Ignorance of the self, once it goes away, the knowledge of the self replaces ignorance, like darkness and light. When darkness is gone, how darkness goes away? By bringing a matchstick and lighting a matchstick. So the light, immediately when it is there, what happens to darkness is gone. Similarly, when I come to realize through the study of Upanishads that there is Atma, and that Atma is non-dual in nature, it is Advaitam. It alone is, try to understand this word. When I say it alone is, it's extremely important because that is what removes the ignorance. In that Atma, there is nothing except itself. But what is the world which I see? It is only a superimposition. Like the baker, when he wakes up to the baker knowledge, what happens to the dream world? Dream world, nothing exists. Baker says that there's nothing called dream. Similarly, you and I, when we discover this Atma, we can say that there is nothing called as the waking world. Waking world was there. Yes, it was there yesterday. It was there day before yesterday also, but it'll be there tomorrow also. But that is not a fact. What is a fact? For a dreamer, waker was a fact. For a waker, Turiyam or Brahman or that Karanam, the pure cause is the reality. Nanatvam means duality, mithya. Whatever we experience as manyness in this world is an appearance. It is mithya. It is not Satyam. What is Satyam? The seer consciousness, which is Chaitanyam, is Satyam. Perceptual duality will continue. For example, when you come to know that the sun never rises, it is the earth which goes around the sun. Experientially, we experience the sun rising in the morning and sun setting in the evening. But in your intellect, what happens? You come to realize, that sun never rises, earth is going around. Similarly, this Veka is not rising and falling, but it is the Atma which is appearing as this Veka. Atma is Advaitam. Veka is Dvaitam. Dvaitam will continue. But I am free. I am not this Dvaitam. It is only a relative phenomena. It is not the ultimate fact. Because of non-perceptualness of a factual duality, one says, I have attained moksha. This line is extremely important. See, the goal of Upanishad is what? It is not dharma, artha, kama. There are four goals in the world. For all human beings, there are only four goals. Dharma, which is leading a noble life. Second is artha, dharma, artha. Artha means earning money. Money includes everything, houses, this, that, everything. Kama, kama means entertainment. The body always requires something to entertain itself. So the body goes through all types of entertainments, music, sports, so many different varieties. We have so much in the WhatsApp and in the mobile nowadays. They're all nothing but entertainment. But the last one is moksha, which very few people try to seek. Moksha means freedom from limitation, freedom from birth and death. The day you say, I am free, I am not this body, because you have studied the Taittriya Upanishad, you go through the study of Upanishad and say, I am not the five koshas, then who are you? I am the Atma. Because Atma is real, the five koshas are unreal. Unreal means what? It can be experienced, but it is not a fact. Okay? Duality is bhaya hetu. This is how Shankaracharya's commentary is. Shankaracharya says, anytime you see duality, see, your eyes are designed to see duality. So it is bhaya hetu. It is a cause of fear. But if your intellect knows that whatever I'm seeing is is like a dream, it's like a phenomenon. It is like something which you have no control over. It's like a magic show. It is Maya. It is happening. Just leave the entire world's experiences like that. Then what happens? You are abhayam. You don't have any fear. Duality is the fundamental basis for insecurity. Samsara means there is an a feeling of insecurity. Always you try to see, well, I am limited. And this feeling of insecurity starts from early childhood. We start clinging to parents, clinging to the world for our emotional, intellectual, financial growth. We cling to so many attachments. This is our life. That is what is called as samsara. But how do we get rid of this samsara? It is by knowing the Advaita principle in this world. So what have we learned now? Dvaitam is samsara, Advaitam is moksha. That is the essence of this seventh Anuvaka, the third mantra. Shankaracharya, in his commentary, in his Bhashyam, quotes other Upanishads to support what he is saying. Vedanta Upanishad 142. I put the verse here. And here it says clearly that one who is experiencing Dvaitam, he will have fear. Dvitiya Dvai Bhayam Bhavati. This is a very, very favorite sentence, the last line which you see. Dvitiya Dvai Bhayam Bhavati. Whenever you see a duality or something apart from you, the moment you see something else, you will be filled with fear. But suppose you say, I am Advaitam, I am the pure self, I alone am, whatever I'm experiencing is a phenomena. It is mithya. It is an appearance. It is not real. It is like the dream which I had yesterday night. That is, the waking is also similar to that. In Mandukya Upanishad, the third chapter proves to you without any doubt that the waking is as good as the dream which you have experienced. He gives a lot of reasons. That is why Mandukya is extremely famous, because it goes to the depth of reasoning. I am secure not because there are certain conditions around me. In spite of Dvaitam experiences, I am always Advaitam. Advaita means what? I am always Atma. That is what Brihadaranyaka Upanishad says. Duality means fear. Non-duality means fearlessness. See, Shankaracharya Bhashyam is very famous mainly because he gives us the connections between the different Upanishads in his commentary. We are able to link. See, he is a master of all the Upanishads. In his mind, he has got 12 Upanishads by heart in his mind. He can just quote left, right, and center. For sometimes in Mandukya Upanishad mantras, he quotes 10 other Upanishad mantras giving exactly what he wants to say. And when you read it together, it will make sense to you. Another Upanishad he quotes here is Ishavasya Upanishad. Yasmin sarvani bhutani atmaive भूत विजानतः तत्र को मोहका शोकः एकत्वं मनोपश्यतः. The seventh mantra, Ishavasya, is a very difficult Upanishad also, but it's you need to study Ishavasya after a few other Upanishads. But it has got very deep significance in some of these verses. What does it say here? The knower of the self, for the knower of the self, everything has become the self. He has no delusion. He has no grief. Because he sees only oneness everywhere. This whole world is me, that's it. Because it rises from me, it rests on me, it dissolves into me, that's all. The dream world rises in me, rests in me, dissolves into me. As Atma, I can clearly say this entire waking world rises in me, the Atma, rests in me, the Atma, dissolves in me, the Atma. Therefore, there is no, I alone am means I, the Atma alone am, not this body. Body is always linked to the world. See the oneness. See how beautiful these Bhashyams are. When you study the Bhashyam, every section of the Shankara's commentary is a realization. So that is the beauty of the study of these Bhashyams. Then in the next, this is the exact commentary, Shankaracharya's commentary. So whenever there is a section like this with some Sanskrit and English, this means this is the Shankaracharya's commentary. And hit the translation, exact translation of that commentary is here. If you want to study a little bit more depth, then what you should do is study these portions a little bit more in detail. But I am not, again, if I go into this type of study, it will take a very, very long time. In this particular section, what he says is that the jnani who has got this firm knowledge about his nature, he neither sees anything separate from himself and neither he sees his own body as separate from his own self. In short, it means oneness. Advaita Atma alone is the source of security for him, and it is Abhaya Karanam. Abhaya Karanam means it is the cause of fearlessness. What is the cause of fearlessness? The knowledge of Atma. Why do we study Upanishad? Because I want to be fearless in the world. I want to be fearless means I don't want to have any fear about anything. Fear of losing my job, fear of losing some people around me, fear of losing some possessions, fear of losing this body itself. If you want to be fearless, try to understand section 7 of Taittriya Upanishad. An in-depth analysis of these three mantras of the section 7 of Taittriya Upanishad, along with Shankaracharya's commentary, every one of you, I'm sure, will become fearless because he shows us the nature of Atma is fearlessness. Abhayam. So what takes away the fear? It is the knowledge of this pure Brahman or pure Atma. Now, Shankaracharya connects to the original topic which we discussed a few weeks ago, and that is, does Brahman exist or it doesn't exist? That was the original topic. Brahman is Advaitam. It is the source of security for a jnani. Therefore, Brahman exists. So this is an inference which we use to prove the existence of Brahman. In the Ramayana story, Sugriva is always afraid of Vali. Sugriva challenges, but he has the backing of Rama. Similarly, you and I, with the backing of this Brahma Sarupam, we can get rid of this ego I, the ahankara I, which takes birth during the waking state, rests in sleep, again it becomes awake in the waking state, again it rests, it rises in between to see some dreams. It is all this ego I. But behind this ego I is this Sakshi I, Brahman I, the Atma I. And Jnani knows this Atma. He is knowledgeable about this and he knows it only because of Upanishads. The source book for Atma is not Google. Google can give you anything about the world, but it cannot teach you much about Atma because for that you have to come to Upanishads. And for Upanishad, it has to be taught by a guru because he has realized the self. He can make you say, Aham Brahma Asmi. That only the guru has that power because that power rests in the center of his own personality. The guru can say, Aham Brahmasmi, and he can make the devotees also say, Aham Brahmasmi. Brahma Asti Jnanam Abhaya Hetutva. is one of the very, very important principles of Advaita. There exists something called as the pure self, by knowing which I can get rid of fear. All the jnanis have got rid of fear in their life. Therefore, Brahman Asti. When I continuously remember this Brahma Sarupam, Advaita Sarupam, I am always fearless. Chandogya Upanishad, very beautiful mantra, Bhuma Vidya. The seventh chapter is called Bhuma Vidya. Bhuma means Brahman. Bhuma means Atman. And there, Narada goes to Sanat Kumara, the teacher, and Sanat Kumara and tells Narada, who has got PhD in about 36 topics, subjects. He goes to Sanat Kumara, the guru, and says that I have got immense knowledge of this whole cosmos, but my sorrow has not gone. Is there any way sorrow can go? Sanat Kumara then says, Yat Yatra Nanyat Pashyati, Nanyat Shrunoti, Nanyat Vijanati, Sabhoma. This is the definition of Brahman. In Taittriya Upanishad, it is Satyam Jnanam Anantam. In Chandogya Upanishad, the definition of Brahman is what? That in which one sees nothing, hears nothing, knows nothing else. That is called as the infinite. That is what is called as the bliss. That is what is your nature. Knowing which you will cross samsara, knowing which you will cross dukkha. Being attached to the body, you will always be mortal. But being attached to Atma, you will become immortal. Amritatva praptihi. Where does this self rest on? Narada asks his teacher. The teacher says, the self does not have any support. It rests on its own power. That is why when all of us, we realize this Atma, we can realize that this Atma has the power to project this entire universe and resolve this universe. It all happens. It is happening today, but we don't know this fact. That is the problem which we all face. It is ignorance, which is called as Mula Vidya. Atma is in which there is no duality. Again and again, Shankaracharya reminds us of this fact. Dvaitam, Advaitam. Dvaitam means sorrow. Advaitam means happiness. Advaitam is my real nature. Dvaitam, the sorrow which I experience, is a passing phase. A jnani sees the world as nothing different than himself. That is what is called as Advaita Atma's nature. Dakshinamurti Stotram, see, the Dakshinamurti Stotram is again a PhD in Vedanta. If you want to really know what is Vedanta, if you study 10 verses of Dakshinamurti Stotram, you'll know everything. In that, the first sloka, Vishwam Darpana Drishyamana Nagari Tulyam Nijantargatam Pasyanatmani Mayaya Bahirivod Bhut. This whole verse talks about this Maya Shakti. So, how do I say this to myself? I am that pure spiritual self. From me, there is a power in this spiritual self which projects this entire universe, and it resolves this entire universe. That Atma is me. That is my real nature. Mayeva sakalam jatam, mai sarvam pratishtitam, mai sarvam layam yati. Kaivalya Upanishad, the 19th mantra. Remember that, remember this Chandogya Upanishad mantra, Bhuma Vidya. You will always see this is the mantra which I was quoting. Mayeva sakalam, 19th mantra of Kaivalya Upanishad. In Gita, we have a similar mantra, Brahmarpanam Brahmahavihi, no, Brahmana Hutam, Brahmaivatena Gantavyam, Brahma Karma Samadhinaha. Everything is Brahman. Whatever I'm pouring into the Agni fire is Brahman. Agni itself is Brahman. The Jiva which is offering the oblation is also Brahman. Everything is Brahman. Sarvatma Bhava. The entire Gita chapter 10 and 11 is nothing but experience of Dvaitam. But in that Dvaitam, Lord Krishna says, see the oneness in this Dvaitam. There is oneness. Whole world is in me. I am in the whole world. See both. The glory of this, vibhuti of this Brahman is, it appears as this world. So who is a jnani? If you and I have to say we are jnanis, we have to understand the nature of Atma, in which there is nothing else but itself. And the whole universe is just an appearance or is only a superimposition on this. Like the waker understands the dream world is non-separate from himself. Similarly, when I rise to the Paramarthika Satyam, which is Brahman, I can say this entire Jagrat, the waking world, is a superimposition on the pure Chaitanya. This pure Chaitanya is never born. There is no birth for this. It is always is. It is is. The easiness of the world is lent by this Brahman. So, example is generally given in the Shastra, in the Veda. It says that suppose a mirror you keep in front of a bird, the bird thinks that the reflection is another bird. It keeps on pecking at the reflection. Similarly, a dog you keep in front of it, a mirror, it will see that there is another dog. It will not know that I am the same dog which is appearing. So, Ajnanis, these two examples are given in the Veda. Ajnanis are compared to the same principle. Where they see the world, they don't know that this world is nothing but it's only my own reflection. They look at the world as separate from them, and therefore they are confused, they are deluded, and they are eternally in samsara. They are not aware of Advaita Atma. So in today's session, I have covered this Advaitam in a very, very intense way. Try to recollect how we have gone through this study today and try to apply it to your own experiences of the waking world, dream world, sleep world, and arrive at Advaita. Arriving at Advaita means arriving at something which is a substratum of the three states. Waking, dream, and sleep are superimposed, are appearing, resting, and resolving, rising from that Advaita principle, which is called as Atma. It's a direct revelation of our real nature. If you follow this, these notes are beautiful notes. Go through them. You have listened to the talk. You go through these notes. Your knowledge of Atma will become deeper and deeper. It will go to your subconscious mind. When the knowledge of Atma goes to the subconscious mind, the Jiva will never forget that he is the Atma all the time. If it remains at the conscious level, in the mind level, it will come disappear. It will come disappear. But it has to go deeper. How does it go deeper? By repeated listening to the scriptures, it will go into the subconscious. Jnani smiles at all Ajnanis because he knows that this universe is resting in him. Jnani smiles because he knows Advaita Swarupa. So what we have seen is Atma is Abhaya Karanam. Abhayam, it is a cause, the knowledge of Atma is the cause of fearlessness. Okay? Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, this particular mantra also says the same thing. If you, it tells you what, it tells you that the jnanis who have got the Brahma Jnanam, they are not afraid of anything in the universe. This is just a support Shankaracharya gives during the commentary. These are all his verses which he quotes from different Upanishads. But a person who doesn't have this knowledge, he is identified with the body. See, that we should know. Jnani, Ajnani, we should compare. Jnani means a person who knows the knowledge from Upanishads. I am Atma, and he lives as Atma. With Atma Jnanam, you're neither afraid of life for 100 years or for death even today. Doesn't matter. Body dies, not me. I exist. How? Exactly like I exist in sleep. I alone am. That is my Swarupam. That's my nature. I'm not bothered. That is what is the ultimate knowledge which I should assimilate. There is no external source of fear, as there's no external object other than Atma in the self. This is in the ultimate self, there is no other object. That is what Upanishad reveals. Because it reveals the nature of Atma as that there is nothing else except Atma, my bhayam goes away. Study scriptures until we discover the Atma inside us. Till then, we symbolically represent Brahman as concrete God outside with form. See, for example, when we go to temples, we see Sri Ganesha, Shiva, Vishnu, idols, Devi, Amman, all these idols we see. But when we see those after the Vedantic knowledge, immediately what you should say, that Brahman which I studied in my Upanishad class is this idol in front of. Because it is the knowledge of Bhagavan, his own nature, which is presented in the Upanishads. And it says that the nature, ultimate nature of Bhagavan and me are the same. Like Anjaneya, he said, there is a quote which says that when I look at you, he tells this to Rama, Anjaneya tells this to Rama, when I look at you from my body point of view, I am your dasa, I am your devotee. When I look at you from my mind, the reflected consciousness, then I'm a part of you. My mind is nothing, but it is a reflection of your part. Your mind and my mind, it's just a reflection because the consciousness is there. So with reference to body, I am a dasa. With reference to the mind, I am Visishta Advaita, part of you. But with reference to consciousness, you and I are the same. There is oneness. There is only one. There is only one Atma. See, that is the knowledge of Anjaneya. That's why he could do wonders. He had that self-confidence in him that I am that Atma. With that power in you, you and I, even today, if you resolve into this Atma, the self, and you say, this Atma is the spiritual center in me, I can do anything, I can implement anything, I can get any result I want. Self confidence leads to this uh, self effort, and the self effort leads to self knowledge. Okay, so this operating out of that center of spiritual center in us is what is the ultimate success of the study of Upanishads. Till then, we continue our study. You see, suppose you say, no, 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 I still don't know the full significance of the Atma, just continue, doesn't matter. The 20th verse of the 10th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Ahamatma Gudakesha Sarvabhutasya Stitaha Aham Adischa Madhyam Cha Bhutanamanta Evacha. This is the first glory which Lord Krishna describes in the 10th chapter. First glory. What is the first glory? He has given so many vibhutis in the 10th chapter. But the first glory, he says, is, I am there. Lord Krishna says, I am there in your heart. Not only in your heart, I am there in all the beings as the self. I am the consciousness principle in all the bodies. That is my greatness. So, do we have to search for that God? No, we just have to close our eyes and say, Lord says in the Bhagavad Gita, Aham Atma Gudakeshaha. I can close my eyes and say, that Lord is in this heart. I can pray to that Lord in my own heart by closing my eyes. Whatever I want to pray, I can pray just by closing my eyes. That is the advantage of coming and learning the Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavan is not an object outside, but it is the observer principle, the Sakshi principle, the Jnanam portion of Satyam Jnanam Anantam. That Jnanam is Bhagavan. It is the center of spirituality in our own body. World for a materialistic person is different. It is Dvaita. But for a jnani who is a spiritual person, he is self-dependent. He is self-dependent. That means he's independent. So these are the ways in which Shankaracharya proves in Taittriya Upanishad that there is Brahman. There exists Brahman. Don't doubt the existence of God in this world. Don't doubt the existence of Brahman in this world. You can experience that God in your own body-mind complex if you know how to see that God. Abheda is Advaitam, Bheda is Dvaitam. Differences means Dvaitam, differences means unreal. Abheda, which means non-difference, is real. And that non-difference is Abhaya Karanam, is the cause of fearlessness. Bhaya Karanam is Dvaitam. Anytime we are in the waking state, we are experiencing Dvaitam. But intellectually, you can say this Dvaitam is born out of Advaitam. And then intellectually, you can abide as Abheda Swarupa. At what time this jnani becomes abhayam? When does the spiritual seeker become fearless? He becomes fearless only when he stops seeing division in this world between his Swarupam and the world. If he comes to know that this is my Swarupam, this is my nature, then he becomes fearless. See, this whole topic of the seventh Anuvaka, there is nowhere else in the Upanishad. If you look at any Upanishad, you won't find this amount of depth of analysis of fearlessness. Also, okay, there is one more Upanishad, that is Vrihadaranyaka Upanishad, which I referred earlier. Dviti Atmai Bhayam Bhavati. That portion and this portion of Taittriya Upanishad are comparable. But nowhere else you will find this fearlessness described in such a big depth by Shankaracharya. See, Upanishad verse is just very simple. But Shankaracharya writes commentary, page after page, page after page. See, so much he has written. See, what I'm describing here is just 10% of what he has written. So go through these portions if you want to get rid of fear in your life. How do I see the non-difference? By way of an example which is given in the Upanishads. Take an example of a wave and an ocean. Wave can say, I'm a small part of the ocean, but I'm not the ocean. Wave can say, I'm a small part of the ocean. Similarly, from the wave means from the Nama Rupa standpoint, it can say this. But what is the essence of a wave? Water. What is the essence of ocean? Water. From the water standpoint, there is Advaitam. From the wave standpoint, there is Dvaitam. Big wave, small wave, froth, different forms of waves. All Nama Rupa. So similarly in the world, you, me, everybody else, we are all different in name and form because our intellects are different, our bodies are different. But what is the essence behind you and me? It is Chaitanya. It is existence. It is the water principle. If I know this water principle, I am immortal. If I know the Brahman, I become immortal. Wave realizes that all these waves are nothing. Clouds, rain, wave, lake, ocean, these are all names. But all of them, Vastu is Ekam. When we don't see plurality, we don't create division in us. Even during our normal waking state, the Triputi means what? Knower, known, knowing instrument. We can get rid of this at any time. You see, when you learn these mantras and you understand them, you can easily apply it to yourself and say, at any time I can be Atma, abide as Atma. Because I can get rid of this knower, knowing instrument principle and abide as Atma. Jivatma, Paramatma, Anatma triangle is resolved into Ekatma. So the summary of Vedanta is given beautifully as Brahma Satyam Jagan Mithya. Jagan Mithya means Jagat is negated. It is Anatma. Brahman, the seer, the consciousness, existence principle is Satyam. I, the Jiva, is none other than this Brahman. Jivo Brahmaiva Naparaha. That is the essence of all the Upanishads, and that is the essence which we have discussed so far. I will continue this slide 876 next week. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachade Purnasya Purnamathaya Purnameva Vasishyade Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Guru Pyo Namaha. Hari Om. We'll see the chat portion, and then we'll open up for discussions. Manikandan says, in Bhuma, if one knows nothing, then can it be Shunyavada? In that case, in Bhuma Vidya, one should know that I exist toward Shunyavada. Very good. Manikandan, you are right. What we should understand is that consciousness can never be negated. Existence can be never negated. Never can you say, I am not there. I means consciousness. I means pure existence. Even when you say there is nothing, it means that you are there who is seeing nothing. I am the consciousness. That is the beauty of consciousness. That is the nature of consciousness. What is the nature of consciousness? It can see this entire world, cosmos with so many galaxies. At the same time, it can see the nothingness in the world also. It can see there is no world. I exist, but there is no world. That is the Bhuma Vidya. You have very beautifully said that. Bhuma is one. We should know that I exist and it is not a shunya. It is not shunyavada. It is not that there is nothing. Suppose there is nothing. This is a debate which comes in Mandukya Upanishad. Wait till tomorrow and you'll start realizing all the shunyavadas. Shankaracharya says, suppose you say that there is shunya, there is zero, there is nothing. Which will mean what? From nothing, I can get anything. I can see this world. World is coming out of shunyam. Oh, this is how Shankaracharya argues with the shunyavad. He says, okay, if you say that the world is there, I experience the world and it is coming out of that nothingness, then I should get, from nothing, I should be able to, every one of us should be able to bring out so many things in life. But that is not our anubhava. So this is how Shrutis, Anubhava, and Yukti have to be used to come to a conclusion about the nature of the self. Good, Manikandan, you have pointed out correctly. Anybody else has any other questions? Shanmugam will unmute all of you so that you can just unmute yourself and ask a question. If you have any questions, you can ask them now.
One question from me, if
Yeah,
nobody's
go
asking.
ahead.
Yeah. Namaste and very happy new year to you.
Yeah.
Question, and everybody here, wishing you all a happy new year. My question is, at one point you mentioned that when we talk about Advaitam and the Atma in us is same as the body as well, or the fire, or everything is Brahman.
Yes.
When we talk about the fire, the body, the earth, water, or when we do any yajna, that everything, what we add to the yajna is also Brahman.
Yes.
Then my thing is, if that is so, then um, is Brahman also part of this manifest unmanifest process? Because Brahman is Satyam and it does not change. But all the rest is asatya or mithya. So when we know the body or water or fire or this earth is mithya, then if we start thinking that, or if we assume or we say that the fire, earth, water, whatever is also Brahman, then it will also get the same principle as mithya.
Okay.
Uh, what is
I
the
understood where you're coming from. You should
yeah?
remember two things. Number one,
Mm,
the example of dream.
mm,
The waker is Vyavaharika Satyam, dream is Pratibhasika Satyam.
mm,
The waker is not a part of the dream.
yeah.
He is independent of the dream.
Mm,
So the waker can say, I exist independently in spite of the dream world which has disappeared. Apply the same rule to Atma and the waking.
mm,
Atma can say, the waking world is there, but I am not a part of the waking world. So Brahman is not a part of the waking world. Brahman is an independent principle. This we
yes,
come to know only from the Upanishad. It is a fact which is mentioned in the Upanishad. It is called as Paramarthika Satyam.
Satyam. Yes, I accept that. But when we start saying that everything is Brahman, or what we see in this Jagat is Brahman, like the fire, earth, water, or body is Brahman, that's when it becomes, it doesn't stand that principle, because as I understand, or as I sort of have gathered over the time, is this whole universe is mithya. It is same as a dream of a waker. So, from the Atma point of view, the waking world is a dream, or is mithya. Just like for a waker, the dream is mithya, or it's unreal. So, how can Brahman be the dream? It's almost like if I have to say, for a waker, dream is unreal when he wakes up. But when he's in the dream, yes, it's real for him. But when he wakes up, he realizes it's a dream. So how can he be a part of the dream or considered as that? Similarly, when we know from the waking from the Atma point of view, the waker is mithya, or is a dream, or like a dream for Atma or for Brahman. So how can Brahman be a dream as well, or the waking as well?
Okay, good question.
Because
Okay,
it's I'm just
again,
trying to
yeah, no,
distinguish
no,
that.
you
Yeah.
okay? That's your. I understand where your standpoint is. The
Mm,
main thing you should understand is, for a dreamer,
mm,
in dream,
Isn't it?
dream world is real. For a waker
mm,
who is attached to his body and saying that I am in the waking world still, I'm trying to
mm,
understand the Paramarthika Satyam Atma.
mm,
So that means you have not left the waking world, you're still in the waking world and trying to compare yourself with the Atma. What you have to do is completely drop this waking world.
mm,
Don't be in the waking world and ask the question. Like a dreamer in the dream world will never understand the waker.
yeah.
Similarly, you have to rise to the level of Atma. Means what? I have to drop the pole. I have to drop my mind. It is the mind which is now giving me all these doubts and about it is throwing up thoughts, it's throwing up doubts, it is telling me how because the mind is still active.
Mm,
What Upanishad says is, drop the mind in the last stage and say, I am Atma. And just abide in Atma, and then you will understand the nature of the self.
yeah,
So
thank
this
you.
is extremely
Yeah.
important. You see, what you are asking is a very relevant question. Only because we are still identified in this waking state and trying to make the statement, What the Upanishad says is this is Vyavaharika Satyam.
mm,
Stand in Turiyam, stand as Brahman, and take the features of Brahman as explained in the Upanishad as it alone is, and then look at the world, waking world, and say, this waking world, while I'm experiencing the Dvaitam itself, in spite of Dvaitam, I hold on to Advaitam as the
mhm.
Swarup.
So I'm just, I ask these questions or to myself or try to do it. It's because I want to be absolutely reaching a point where it's like how we do neti neti. I'm just trying to, challenge all these questions
No, that's
to
good.
myself to
Yeah, yeah. No, no, that's
get
good.
that full
Yeah,
understanding.
yeah. What you have to understand is the word called as mithya.
Yeah.
You should understand mithya very clearly, and you should understand Atma very clearly. Atma is absolute reality, in which there is no world, in which there is
Mm,
no Dvaita.
mm,
Mithya is an appearance. It is an appearance like the rope snake. My mind thinks because my mind is awake, I am able to see the world. Because my mind projected the rope snake, it saw the rope snake. It had the vision of a rope snake. It's because my mind is active, therefore I'm seeing all these forms, colors, sound, all this. Only because of adhyasa. Suppose the mind is, I don't make this adhyasa, I remain as Atma, then what happens? I am in Advaita.
okay. So, is it fair then to say that when we talk about, when we say that all are one, or, as one of the, I think I've read somewhere where, even when we talk
Sarvatma
about
Bhava.
this, yeah, Vasudeva Kutumba Bhava, where we say everyone is one, or,
Yeah.
all are one family or one thing, oneness. When we talk about this waking world as oneness, and everything is, Maya Shakti or becoming Atma. It actually isn't, because when I think about it from the standpoint view of Atma, all this doesn't exist. So what doesn't exist? Why do I try and understand it as one? Because it's anyway appearance.
No,
It's
you are
like
not
trying.
saying that the world is one. You are saying Atma is one. World is plural. World is Dvaita. You are only
Yeah,
saying Atma is one.
okay. Yeah, but then when we are in this waking world, we are many people, right?
Plural,
And
yes.
it is, but we have got the same reflected consciousness, because we have
Correct.
got reflected consciousness. So we don't,
Yes.
so there are no 100 atmas. There's only one atma which is reflected in all. It's
Yeah.
like that water example which you
Correct,
explained.
correct. That's right. Yes.
So, right? So now my point is, if all that is, uh, we try to understand that all these different forms of water, although we give it different names as waves, ocean, river, lake, it is water. That is the advaitam of that water aspect, right?
Yeah.
So why do we even need to start trying to see advaitam in this waking world when it is not even real?
No, Advaitam is real, Dvaitam is unreal. Because of our mind's orientation, we
Hmm.
think that the world is real. Everybody tells me I was born. Everybody tells me that the world is, is it always exists. My eyes are also telling me that world is always there. Because of our orientation of our buddhi,
Hmm.
that we have a vasana, we have a deha atma vasana, we have a jagat vasana in us.
Hmm.
Therefore we think that the world is real. Because we think world is real, we have to come and start. The Upanishad starts from the world, starts from our seeker's vision.
Seekers. Okay.
And
So
then
that
it
is the
wants
reason we
you to,
start
yeah,
walking from waking
correct.
to, okay.
That's right. You
Okay,
see,
now I get it, because I was just thinking that why don't we start from the point where you start learning your Atma
correct. You see, it's
rather
because
than
of the
learning your.
Vasana. Yes.
Okay,
Now you
okay,
got it.
okay.
I'm,
Yeah.
I'm glad you got it. Okay. Yeah.
Dhanyavad. Thank you.
Anybody else
Thank
has a question? See, all these questions are all there in the Upanishads. Shankaracharya, in his commentaries, brings up so many questions and he brings out the answers. That is why the study of Bhashyam is extremely interesting. It takes long time, but it is a thorough study. It is not a flimsy study of Vedanta. Upanishadic study of Shankara Bhashyam is an extremely serious study of Vedanta. And it will give you the result because that is the way it is. That is Shankaracharya's power. You can't, that is the power of the Upanishadic mantras. So, what we are studying is extremely divine. Okay, good. If there are no other questions,
Hello, Shakaji.
yeah,
Can you hear me? It's
yeah,
Bharat here.
yeah, Bharat, yeah.
Hi, Happy New Year. Glad to have you back, and I'm very glad that the classes have started. I didn't have a question. I just wanted to add something. In the text, how you talked about wave and water, how wave, ocean, foam, everything is made of water. If it's helpful for people, one nice analogy is to think of that the water is sentient, and hence the wave and the ocean and everything is sentient. So as jivas, as little waves, we are sentient and we see the ocean, which is sentient. We can experience the other waves, which are also sentient. But at some point, it's just a recognition that actually we're not the wave name and form. It's actually the water within us, the water atma, if you like, which is the real sentience. And what we see out there, it's not that it's totally unreal, it's an illusion, it's experienced, but then so are we. We as knowers, the knower itself is also not absolutely real. It's the Atma, the Brahman, the sentience, the water inside. So at that point, both knower and known is nothing but that Brahman, that water, that sentient water. So it's like sometimes a question of illusion. I don't know. It's like the wave saying there's no waves, there's no such thing as wave when it's already a wave. If it can just see that it's at a different order of reality than the water, which is the only sentience, it might be helpful for some people.
Good, very good. Bharat, what you have said
Yeah,
is
true.
absolutely right. It has been described the wave and the water, ocean. This example is a very important example in Advaita Vedanta, and you have described it very beautifully. It's you have to put yourself in the shoes of a wave and say, I am
Hmm.
not a wave because it is just a name and form. I,
Yep,
essence in
I'm a
me is the
water.
water.
yep,
Hmm.
Similarly, we are all jivas. The external body is different.
yep,
I may be old, I may be young, I may be rich, I may be poor, I may be sick,
Hmm.
I may be healthy. All these are conditions of the pancha koshas. But the essence in me is atma, which is chaitanyam. I hold on to that chaitanyam because this is what is revealed to me by the Upanishad. Upanishad does not reveal to me the Panchakoshas. Panchakoshas are known to all of us. But the Upanishad is revealing the Apurvata. What is unique revelation of the Upanishad is I am Atma.
Yeah,
That
I
you
think
hold on to.
yeah, it
Just
really,
hold on to only that portion. Everything
yes.
else you forget. You forget the Panchakoshas, you don't understand the Panchakoshas, it doesn't matter. but
Mm.
understand I am the essence, pure consciousness. Abide in it and live the life, and that's all. That is, Upanishad study is over. Nothing else is required. It's a very simple teaching in the Upanishad, but abidance takes time. Abidance means nishtha. It means I should not forget this. And this is what gives me fearlessness. That is what in the seventh month, in the third mantra of the seventh section, which we covered today, that is the essence of this whole study today. Good, Bharat. I'm very happy
Thank
with
you.
what is out.
Yeah,
Thank you.
thank you, Bharatji, as well, because I think now it becomes a bit more clear. I mean, good to visualize, I would say, this example,
Yes.
because you rise from water, the wave can be of different sizes, which is the different people, but then we resolve back into water. So we rise from water and we resolve into water. So
As
ultimately, we are
Shaka
all one. Yeah.
as Shakaji said, there are so many jivas, there are
Mm,
so many experiences, and as you said, there are so many different ways to do neti neti
mm.
until you've netted the hell out of everything, and
Yeah.
you're left with yourself as the knower, the doer, the experiencer, the enjoyer, and at that point you are that wave, and you just got to take that one more step to say
Mm,
that you are the water, you are Atma. And
mhm.
as Shakaji says, just claim it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank
Good.
you. Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much.
There's a question here. Which Upanishad should be read first? Okay. Generally, the teachers they recommend Keno Upanishad. Keno Upanishad is what people generally say you read first. And how do you try to enter the Upanishads? First, you just read the mantras and the meanings, and then try to understand the mantras and the meanings. Once you have done that, this is the first level. Then what do you do? Try to go to the Bhashya, Shankara Bhashya. First, do the mantra learning. Okay, this is you will get a general picture of the Upanishad. Kena Upanishad is a simple Upanishad because it tells us the power behind our sense organs, the power behind our mind is this Atma. Very simple way it describes what is Atma. The student comes to a teacher and says, I have done, I have done enough reflection in my life. I have come to a conclusion that this eyes, what is the power behind this eyes to see this world? What is the power behind my ears to hear this sound? So it is an intelligent student, and the teacher understands that the student is intelligent. And then it's that the teacher describes to him the nature of art. And the most important verse there in the Kena Upanishad is Pratibodha Vidita. Before you have knowledge about anything in the universe, through your sense organs and through your mind, know the presence of Atma. Atma exists first. Then the sense organs get the knowledge of the world. So it's a very beautiful Upanishad, Kena Upanishad, you can start. Then do Taittriya Upanishad, come to Mandukya. Mandukya, generally they say it should be the last Upanishad. Well, that is how the teachers they advise us. But it all depends. Sometimes I have found that there are some very sharp students who come to the classes. They have already, I don't know, because of their Purva Janma Vasanas or something, they are already ready for Mandukya Upanishad. So for them, Mandukya is just like a cakewalk. So it all depends on your mindset. If you find something is in, you see, the moment you find Upanishad study is interesting, that means you are coming in tune with the Upanishad. That means your mind is already has the vasana of the Upanishad, not from this birth, from previous births. And then you enter, and then you will find that spiritually you're growing. Spiritually, you're understanding more and more. The depth of understanding becomes it becomes very intensified. Okay. Uh, any other questions?
Hariam Sekharji, Vijaya this side.
Yeah, Vijay, yeah.
I have a question. I think this is an extension of the earlier discussion where I draw a parallel. Ending of the Jivatvam is ending of the Dvaitam. And hence, hence we say that Brahmam Asti Jnanam is Abhaya Etuvat. So I understood that. So when wave realizes that I am not short or small and in comparison to the other wave, so the end of insecurity, because it understands whether whatever name and form I am, whatever height or big or small or ferocious or not, I am, end of the day, me and the other wave is the same from the essence, which is water. So that's the realization, and hence the bhayam ends, that I understood. But in 861 slide, you said Brahma Asti Jnanam Abhaya Hetuvat. Brahma Asti is accepting the Brahma Asti is accepting the Brahman existence of Brahman. So Dvaita does not mean I don't claim the Brahman Asti. Dvaita means I claim Brahman is there, but I also live in Advaita. That means in the world. So I somehow seem to have separate existence of Jivam and separate existence of Brahman. I still not in a position to claim my Purnatvam, where I can say Brahman alone exists and I am Brahmasmi. I am that Brahman. So I lack, to that extent I suffer. Suffer in realizing my intrinsic nature. But why am I saying that Brahma Asti Jnanam is Abhaya Hetuvat? Brahma Asti Jnanam is existence of Brahman. I have no confusion there. But my bhaya is because I am still a jiva. But being a jiva, I am not saying no to the existence of Brahman. Don't you think that Abhaya Hetuvat is when I understand that the jiva in me is none other than the Brahman, and when the second line of the Brahmavali, when you said, right? So Brahma Satyam Jagat Mitva, Jivo Brahmaika Napara. So because I'm not realizing the second statement that I'm having that bhaya, but why are you saying that Brahma Asti Jnanam should be the hetu or cause for the bhaya?
Okay, good question. See, what you should understand is, what is that which liberates me? The Dvaita Jnanam does not liberate me. Dvaitam is known by even Pratyaksham. It is not the object of Upanishad to dwell on Dvaita. The objective of the goal of Upanishad is to reveal the Advaita nature of Brahma. Now, so first of all, we should understand the Paramarthika Satyam is what the Upanishad wants to reveal. Dvaitam Asti, everybody knows. Dvaitam is always a karanam for fear. That Upanishad tells me, because while we are in the Dvaitam only, we have fear. All our waking state is Dvaitam. It is Pratyaksham. It is cause of fear, is also Pratyaksham. I'm seeing the body may not exist tomorrow, therefore I have fear. Not only my body, others' body also, I have fear. So this is, Dvaitam is always a cause of fear. Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, that's a mantra which I referred, Dviti Atvai Bhayam Bhavati. So Dvaitam is a cause of fear, is known from the Upanishads. It is a pramanam. Now, what is the pramanam for fearlessness? If you ask, it cannot be Dvaitam. It cannot be anything related to Dvaitam. Even if I say that Dvaitam is Mithya, but suppose I don't know Satya Brahman, then your fearlessness will not go away. You will still think that maybe will come tomorrow again. That rope which I negated yesterday, maybe it will come tomorrow till you know rope. So what is the cause of fearlessness? The knowledge of the rope gives me fearlessness. Therefore, the knowledge of Satyam Adhishthana, which is Brahman. And what is the nature of that Brahman? So, first thing you have to know is it is the Adhishtanam for the rope snake. The Adhishtanam is rope. For the world, the Adhishtanam is Brahman. This is the first exercise. Then the second exercise is, which is more important than the first exercise, is in that Brahman, there is nothing else.
Yep.
It alone is. That is what will remove fear. Brahmanasti is the first step for fearlessness. Without Brahmanasti, you cannot even go to the second stage. Second stage is equally important. What is the nature of that Brahman? The nature of that Brahman is it alone is. You see, many people, they think that, how does this birth, death, samsara and all, how does it go away? It goes away only when you know the nature of Brahman. It is Satyam. It exists. It is always there eternally. And it is a higher order of reality.
Yeah.
Paramarthika Satyam means higher order of reality. Don't forget the higher nature of Brahman. It is nothing to do. Therefore, Advaitin can easily say it is because it is a higher order of reality. While being in Dvaitam itself, the Advaitin Shankaracharya says very beautifully in Mandukya Upanishad Tarika that while experiencing the Dvaitam itself, the Advaitam alone can say that in spite of Dvaitam, I am fearless.
Correct. Yes.
This is an argument given in Mandukya Upanishad, which I am just trying to bring it to you now to explain this, because your question is very high level question. So basically, you have to understand two levels of reality, which Advaitam alone proposes. No other philosophy, neither Christianity, neither Buddhism, neither any of them, they don't have these two orders of reality. Therefore, what happens? They try to understand Advaitam in Dvaitam, remaining in Dvaitam, Advaitam. They don't have a higher level. Therefore, all confusions, and they can never accept Advaitam. Okay?
So it is not, it is Brahman Asti, that is first order, then Aham Brahma Asmi, that is where Brahma
Yes.
Janati, Aham Brahma Janati, I have to first know him. First his existence is proven, then I have to know him to be myself. Only then I can break the fear. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
Good.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. There's a question here, the message from Lalita, which says, can we start meditating from the point of consciousness itself directly without going through neti neti, or will we be wasting our time um, uh, because we are not yet fit for it? No. Okay. Now, this question has been answered in Vichara Sagara, a higher text. In Vichara Sagara, the same question was asked. The answer given by the Guru there, he says that you don't have to wait for the neti neti to start meditating. I am consciousness. And what does it mean? That means what? The question is, you should be very clear. In the seat of meditation, suppose you close your eyes. There are two things you can do. One is you can say, I am not the body, I am not the mind, I am not the intellect. Okay, this is one strategy for meditation. The second strategy is, I am consciousness, I am nityaha, eternal, I am nirvikaraha. I am not, I am modificationless. So suppose you meditate on the consciousness aspect. Is it right or wrong? Am I wasting my time? The answer is what you are doing is correct. You can remain as consciousness and focus your attention on consciousness, but remember, you must bring the nature of consciousness in meditation. You must bring that nature. What is the nature? All the features which are mentioned in the Upanishads. What are the features? It is without a body. Consciousness is without a body. Just now we saw in Taittriya Upanishad, there's no body for it. It does not have any support. It is supportless. It is nityaha. Nitya means it is eternal. It is not affected by time. It is not, it is never affected by any event in the world or any event with the body. So bring these thoughts, bring these thoughts of consciousness and meditate. Am I clear, Anna or Lalita? Okay. Bharat says water exists. Yeah, this he has already explained. What? Okay. Nature of self is indicated in the mantra of Mandukya Upanishad. The seventh mantra of Mandukya Upanishad is the most important mantra in the entire Upanishadic literature. The seventh mantra of the Mandukya is the most important. If you can understand that intellectually, you are free. I give you guarantee. It is a guarantee of the Upanishad, but I can tell you, but it is so beautiful, and it is something which is you have to go through the process of learning, and you will experience yourself. What is that nature of the self? It is it's a very difficult for an intellect to understand. And that is where the purity of the mind is so important. See, our preparation so far, what have I done? How much preparation my mind has got to understand that mantra is what will decide whether I get the final result or not. All of us will get the result, but the result may not be 100%, but it will be of some form of results. But if your mind is ready, you are 100%. Moksha is in your hand. You can feel it, you can experience it, and you can convince others that this mantra is moksha karan. Everybody, you can teach everybody else that this is how I have realized my pure nature. Good. All right. So we'll stop here. We'll continue our study next week.
I have one question, Shekhar. Sorry to disturb you. Is that okay? Hello?
Yeah, go ahead.
Shekharji, there is the message from Lalita, which we were telling about the point of consciousness. Why should I go through Neti Neti instead of directly going into meditating on Brahman? But when we approach a scripture, we have Shruti, Yukti, and Anubhava. So Yukti becomes important for us to be able to get the Anubhava. So while we meditate on the Brahman being Aham Brahmasmi, but I think Neti Neti also works to get that aspect of Yukti wherein I can get the Anubhava later, right? Is that the way to
Definitely,
understand?
yes. I agree with you. I mean, Neti Neti is a proven method. It is what she's asking is, suppose I don't want, for some reason she doesn't want to do it. I said, okay, no problem. But Neti Neti is equally important. Neti Neti, Nirvana Shatkam has got two parts. One is Neti Neti portion, I am not the Buddhi, I am not the Manaha, I am not the body. And then what is the positive portion? I am the Chidananda Rupaha Shivoham Shivo. So you can focus initially on the neti, and then slowly come to I am Chidananda. That the Nirvana Shatkam, the mantras are the best for meditation, especially after you have done a little bit portion of these Upanishad. If you want to quietly dwell on 5 minutes every day, don't do more than 5-10 minutes. That's enough. Because what happens is, if you do for 5-10 minutes, a small drop goes into your subconscious mind. I am Atma. As your drop increases, then the subconscious mind itself will tell you you are the Atma. Whenever you are experiencing the world, your subconscious mind will tell you, why are you worried so much about this world, about the body, about others in the world, and also because they are also Atma. If I am Atma, it is not, then others, Upanishad teaches me that they are also Atma. Only thing is they are Ajnanis. And with a little bit knowledge of Upanishad on Saturday classes, I have understood whatever is the essence. And I can get joy from that. That's all. Okay, very good. These discussions are so intense. I'm very happy that all of you are thinking and asking, and it's a very interesting group of people. Thank you and good night.
Hari Om.
Thank you.
Hari
Hari
Om.
Om.
Namaste. Thank you.
Shekharji, about tomorrow.
Tomorrow is 7 o'clock. Yeah, tomorrow we'll be starting 1 hour later. I'll be sending the link tomorrow morning.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
And there'll be some notes and everything. So tomorrow will be 1 hour later instead of 6 o'clock Singapore time, 7 o'clock Singapore time. And I'll be sending the link tomorrow morning.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.